What's up, guys? LQ here with the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me right here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I want to give you guys my thoughts on the new animated film, Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms. So this is the sequel to the movie that came out last year, Scorpion's Revenge. And if you'll remember, Scorpion's Revenge I thought was a very well done animated movie. Definitely leaned into the gore, definitely leaned into the Mortal Kombat mythology, included a lot of characters, but it didn't overstuff it to the point where I just felt like they were throwing people in for the sake of it. It was a well-told, tightly structured story. And the sequel, Battle of the Realms, is more or less the same. I really like this. I didn't like it as much as Scorpion's Revenge, and there's some reasons why, and I'll go into those in a moment. But first, just let me lament for a second why, the new live action Mortal Kombat came out earlier this year, and I was very mixed on it. I liked the fight scenes. I thought the special effects were great. I love the fact that they brought the gore and the violence to Mortal Kombat. But they made a Mortal Kombat movie without a tournament. And that really bothered me. It really affected my enjoyment of the film. The fact that there was no tournament in a Mortal Kombat movie. And that's something that these animated films get right. Both films have been based around a Mortal Kombat tournament. So this movie, Battle of the Realms, takes place after Scorpion's Revenge. And the Outworld, Shao Kahn, he has ignored the fact that the Earth Realm is one Mortal Kombat. He's sending his legions into Earth, and the Earth fighters are trying to keep his legions at bay. And then finally, Shao Kahn and Raiden, they decide to petition the Elder Gods for one final Mortal Kombat. There will not be another one after this. This one will end Mortal Kombat, and it will decide who has claim to the Earth Realm. Raiden gives up his godhood, so he could become immortal and fight alongside his human warriors. And we have another Mortal Kombat. And in a lot of ways, this kind of reminded me of Mortal Kombat 2, the video game, the original Mortal Kombat 2 video game. Kintaro was in this. Baraka, at least Baraka's race, played a very prominent role in this. Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Katana, Jax, a lot of those players from the second Mortal Kombat game definitely had a lot to do here. Scorpion and Sub-Zero obviously did as well. It also included some components from Mortal Kombat 3, the video game. Stryker was there. Cyrax, Sector, Smoke, they were all there. And you also saw a plot line that wanted to merge the realms, much like we saw in Mortal Kombat 3. And that was where it got a little bit messy for me. So obviously, the good stuff in this movie is the battle sequences, the fights, the tournament. This is animated and they were completely willing to bring the gore just like the first movie. I'm loving all that, right? This feels like Mortal Kombat. This feels genuine. The problem is that the first act and the second act focused on the tournament. That felt very linear. It was a tight, well-constructed story. Raiden, Liu Kang, and the other warriors from the Earth Realm taking on Shao Kahn and his legions in Mortal Kombat. That all worked for me. The problem is that the third act, it strayed away. In the third act, we started focusing on Shinnok, bringing back this one being who is present to destroy all the realms. And I really feel like that should have been the third movie. So I don't have an issue with that storyline. I have no issue with Shinnok doing the things that Shinnok does, right? But my issue was that the first two acts really focused on the tournament against Shao Kahn, and then the third act was this completely other thing. This third act, while I liked the content, it felt completely disjointed from the first two acts. And I would have much rather seen the war against Shinnok and the being the one, I'd have much rather seen that as a full third movie rather than being tacked on as the final act to this movie, to the second movie, especially when the first two acts are so much superior, so much better than what they gave us in the third act, because there was not enough context to what was going on in that third act. They gave us just, in the first two acts, they gave us just enough so that we can understand what's happening in the third act, but it felt rushed, it felt tacked on, and it really distracted from the first two acts, which were far superior. So I liked this movie. I didn't like it as much as Scorpion's Revenge because it felt like they crammed two movies into one, and it just felt like they shortchanged that final storyline with Shinnok. And in some ways, it felt like they shortchanged Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn is maybe the big bad of the Mortal Kombat universe, and you know, his storyline is concluded near the end of the second act, and that was disappointing. I would have much rather seen that play out through a full story arc, rather than tacking on this part 3 story at the end. So that's my take on Battle of the Realms. You know, I would give this a B-. Not as good as Scorpion's Revenge. Definitely had a lot of the same strengths as Scorpion's Revenge did. Unfortunately, it had some of the weaknesses that Scorpion's Revenge didn't. So, what did you think of Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd especially love to hear your take on it. If, like me, you are a fan of the Mortal Kombat video games, I'd like to see where you fall on it. So, make sure you comment. While you're down there commenting, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.